Good morning. What I'm going to do is we're going to continue working with acrylic to be able to show you guys how to take that glitter and apply it to a fade. You can fade it from cuticle to free edge, or you can fade it from free edge to cuticle. I want to go through the steps so I can show you guys how to do that. This is going to help you guys tremendously. What we're going to end up doing is let's go ahead and prepare this nail so that it is ready for application. One of the things I want to be able to do is just go ahead and clip off the extension, right? Let's go ahead and try to get most of this off. And then what I'd like to do is just kind of round off the edges, right, so they have just a slight free edge. I'm going to be using my electric file at 3,000 RPMs. And what we were going to do is we're going to gently remove shine from the surface of the natural nail, all right? So just come around. We're going to lightly feather from corner to corner, all right? You notice how I'm actually holding the hand, feathering the shine away. The pressure that I'm using is the same pressure as if I was tickling the inside of my wrist. It has to be very, very gentle. Okay, so once we're done removing shine from the surface of the nail, what we want to be able to do is cleanse the surface. So you could use a lint-free wipe or a manicure brush, just kind of clean the surface of the nail. And once you're done doing that, then you're ready for protein bond application, okay? All right, so this, again, is going to set you up so that when we establish our foundation layer, right, you don't have to worry about the surface of the natural nail. 2 coats, ready to rock and roll. This is going to ensure that you have, this is going to ensure that you're going to have a perfectly prepped surface. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my form and I'm going to place it underneath, right? So just getting into form application, here's the thing. For those of you guys that, right, in school learned this is what was taught to me. I was taught to discard this, which is crazy. But I was taught that what you should do is you should roll the form, right, to create this. And then what you have to do is you have to slide everything underneath the corners, right? So you'd start here, and you would slide it, and then right when it got to here, then you would, kind of tuck it back, right? And then hold it, and then pinch it. Okay, that's, yes, you can do that. But the problem with that is that not all students or beginners are able to do that. What ends up happening is when you come in like this, is a lot of students, what they'll do is they don't pinch it straight, right? And then they end up pinching up here and here, which leaves a lot of space. There's a lot of space that's left here. And then if you're looking at the side, the form is tilted, right? So your form has to be straight with the growth channels. This right here is if you were going to be building like an eagle claw, right? So we're not trying to build eagle claws. What we're trying to do is we're trying to build something that is going to go on dead straight. My recommendation is to open up the back end, and is if you hold it here, or you could use this as a handle. If you use this as a handle and you tuck it straight up like this, if you're looking at this from the side profile, look at this. If I take this here from the side and I just get it straight, right? Look at that. So it's touching the free edge. All I have to do is secure the sides right here. Don't worry about, a lot of people worry about trying to get the forms all the way to the back corners. Don't worry about that. Focus on getting it flush to the very front. That's where you want to be, okay? Once you're done doing that, that's going to make sculpting a lot easier. All right, so if we're going to be building a free edge, then what we have to be able to do is we have to build it out with the existing glitter that I have. You'll notice that the very tip, right, it's like a ledge. So the first thing I'll do is I'll take whatever glitter mix I have. I'm gonna dab off the excess. You can see my brush here. I'm gonna bring it down. It's on one side of my brush. When I set it to the surface and I press, it's going to release. I'm gonna get the excess off, and it's not going to get away from me, right? So here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna walk it from the top, okay? I'm gonna walk it from the top of the bead so I can get it to the corner. See that? I get it to the corner. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side, get it even with the growth channels. And from what I wanna be able to do is use the body, right, to walk it up. But you can see how flush, there's not a ledge, right? My form application's tight. So I'm gonna have a really, really tight free edge. The product is drying at a perfect rate. What I'm going to be able to do is I'll be able to kind of stretch it into form. My whole goal is to try to get the free edge as even as I can. So if you're looking at it from bird's eye view, which is this right here, bird's eye, you can see how if I'm tapering the free edge, right, this is my growth channel right here. I want to be able to keep the free edge inside that growth channel. This is really important. And it's also going to be flush to the natural nail and maybe slightly higher, which is what I want to be able to achieve. Right, so I'll be able to shape that tip. Now here, to create the fade, all I'm going to do, you're going to notice if I need to get a bead, I don't need to get a bead that's this big. That's way too big. I need to get something really, really small, okay? Because I just want to be able to cover this line and make it look like glitter is shooting into the natural nail. So if I take the tip of my brush and, right, if I take the tip of my brush and touch it, right, just barely touch it to get a small little bead, then what I could do is I could set this here and then kind of cover that line and then use the very, very tip with glitter on top at the back end. As I start to walk it up into the body, you can start to see how it creates a natural ombre, right? I cover that line, create the fade that I want so it looks like it's fading up into the body. That's what we want to be able to create, okay? And you can see from the side profile how thin that is. So now what we've done is we've set up our glitter, we've done our fade. I can now come in and get a really nice bead of speed clear. Wait a couple seconds. I'm gonna go ahead and set this to the cuticle area. Notice how quickly I'm working around the perimeter while everything is running down towards the tip. That's what I want. I want it to kind of flow on its own. I want it to shape the upper arch for me, right? I'm not going to just like start attacking it. I want it to be able to run into perfection on its own. And then I can kind of feather this excess towards the tip. Probably gonna need just a hair more right there, but I did pick up enough where I was actually able to work a majority of that. If you guys are learning to do overlays, you have to remember the consistency. Once I set it to the back end, I want it to level not just here, I want it to level down as everything is running down towards the free edge. Notice that when I was finished, all I had to do was use the body of my brush really to kind of cover the tip, right? I'm really focusing my attention right now on capping the whole entire free edge and body with enough clear. I'm not focusing back here. I allowed the product to do that for me, right? So once we are capped and ready to go, you can see everything is built out, right? Probably a hair thin right there, but I don't care whether or not I get it into that corner. What I'll end up doing is I'll end up filing it flush. And then if there is any space, my gel top coat is going to be able to seal that, which is huge. So let's go ahead and let that sit. The advantage of doing this is if you're doing, let's say you're doing impressions where you want to be able, because I coated the whole entire surface, if I wanted to come in and press this into the surface, I could do that because the whole entire body is just one. It's just one bead. If I was working multiple beads, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's very difficult to be able to do impressions because, again, everything is drying at a different rate. This is drying faster than the front. So if you're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 4 beads all the way down, it's going to be very hard for you to get this to push into the surface because this is still wet at the very, very front. I hope that makes sense. All right, so let's go ahead and notice again, I keep my brush inside my dish after I'm done working. It's really important, again, to just kind of rinse out, clean out everything. I like to spin it to a nice point to make sure it's nice and soft on both ends. Keep my brush tight. Let's go ahead and put that aside, kind of clean up the surface. It's pretty chilly inside here, so what we want to be able to do is give it a chance to set. The first thing you're going to feel is how nice and velvet it is. All right, so when we file, I'm going to go ahead and write this down for you guys. So the nail, again, is built out. Okay, so there's going to be 5 points of filing, and 1 on the side wall, 2, and then 3 from the front. And then when we're looking at the side profile, you're going to have 4, and then on the opposite side, you're going to have 5. If you're doing a stiletto or a rounded edge, right, on almanetto, then you don't have to worry about squaring off the front end. There's only going to be 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But since this is a square tip, we're going to have to do that. Also, really important when you're using your hand files, right? You're not going to hold your hand file like this while you're working. You have to be able to hold your hand file from the sides so that if I'm putting pressure here, right, you're going to be able to see how easy it is for me to put pressure along the side. And then again here, I need to put pressure with my thumb along this edge if I'm filing the opposite side. All right, this is starting to set. What we want to be able to do, show you guys, you could always use that to get it off. Because the tip was built out, one of the things you can do is you could always just kind of wrap this around, right? I always like to kind of taper, but the front end is still not completely set. It's all based on temperature. For everybody back east right now, my heart goes out to you. I saw the weather report. It's brutal. It's crazy. Pinching, what you can do if you're working with a wand on plastic, it's not going to work. So what I'll usually do when I get a new wand is I'll open it and then I'll kind of bend this in like this. And then what this is going to do is it's going to allow me to get in. You can see how dead square that's going to be. It's going to put pressure on your side walls here. You're not coming straight in. You're coming at an angle. You're coming at an angle. You see that? Like this. You're not going to do this because then what ends up happening is it ends up slipping off the nail. Okay? All right. Give that a couple more seconds. What I can show you too, just to help you guys speed things up, if you're working in the shop and you're doing one nail and you're noticing it's taking forever to dry, after you're done doing the full set, what you can do is you can stick it, the light is not going to cure the acrylic. The only reason why I stuck it inside the light is because it's warm. The temperature inside here is in the low 60s, so everything is taking a little bit longer to set. If you're really fast at your work and you want to make sure the nails are done after you're done doing the set, stick it in something warm. Or you can even take a a heating pad as well. Have your client set it on there while you're working. That's going to get things definitely drying a lot faster. It's one thing we got to deal with when the winter comes. We got to deal with everything taking a little longer. And it's the same in summer. In summertime, when things are really, really warm and really hot, everything sets a lot faster. It's all basically temperature set. All right, so that has been close to, everything is getting there. Wish it's the only thing when you're doing demos, you have to make sure, right, everything is done before we start filing them into shape. All right, so here what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to file my sidewalls straight. So I want to keep contact, as you can see, with the whole entire side. Right, you can see the file line goes all the way from the very back to the very, very tip. And it's the same thing on the opposite nail. I want to be able to keep contact with the whole entire side. But you can see my fingers on this side of my hand, of the nail, right, to keep pressure into the artificial nail. From the front, I want to just lightly make that square. From the side profile, what we want to be able to do is we want to line it up at the lowest point and file up. So this is going to be completely parallel to the finger so that my lower arches are going to be completely straight. It's the same thing on the opposite side. You can see all that acrylic hanging from the side. What I want to be able to do is I want to be able to get it nice and tight, nice and straight all the way through, okay? And then once we are done filing this into shape, then what we can do is we can tune everything up. The best part about nail like this is if at any point you notice, right, if I need a little bit more, I could always add acrylic on top. It's a lot easier than doing it around the natural body. You just go ahead and get a safety bit. Sorry about that. Okay, so don't really need to overfile this at all. I'm going to go ahead and take this. I'm going to go ahead and get my bit on. And then what we want to be able to do is you're looking at the side profile. It's a little flat. I'm not really happy with that. I could add a little bit more, so we're going to end up shortening it. You can see right there. All right. Let me just go ahead and taper this down. So look, at the end of the day, if I had to add a little bit more, that's exactly what I want to be able to show you guys, because this happens sometimes, right? I didn't look at the side profile when I was done. So you can see, right, the back end is perfect. Where I'm missing acrylic is about right there. So let's go ahead and file it, and then I'll show you what we're going to do just to add it. All right, so I don't, again, I filed my upper arch, and then I'm just going to kind of taper around the back end. Remember how I wanted to get that corner kind of touched up. I'm going to come all the way through. I'm going to make sure that my C curve is dead even from side to side. And then what I'm going to end up doing is, let's go ahead and take a look at this profile just to make sure we have it completely dead straight. I always need to look at client profile so that everything is perfect. Okay, so from here, I want to be able to come down the very, very tip, all right, just to make sure that it's all even. You can see I rest my hand file on top. It's going to kind of taper the front end, try to get that as straight as we possibly can on both ends. And then what I like to do when I'm file finishing the nail is I like to go around the cuticle area here just to make sure that we don't have any ledges. So remember earlier in the demonstration, I was saying there was a little bit of space. You can see that space is completely gone just by taking your hand file and just kind of blending around the very, very edge of the nail. So as I go through and I refine everything, I'm just going to see if there's anything I need to do. I'm not happy with, it's just a hair flat, but it's definitely gotten better. I've kind of reduced the length. If I had to go back, I would definitely add a bead through there. I think I can get away with it today. I just want to be able to show you the final nail, what it looks like when it's completely filed out and finished. Let me go ahead and get some swipe. And you can see that the fade, right? Like that's like with the clear, it's really pretty how the fade, it just blends into the body. What I would do is take a little bit of protein bond and go ahead around my edges. You can see that you can see the sides, right? I don't have that ledge anymore. I was able to use the hand file to go ahead and blend it. A lot of students, I believe, they end up getting a ledge, or they end up tucking the acrylic right up to the skin, which is a big problem. You're going to notice as soon as I apply finish gel over the surface how pretty the fade looks. This is going to be great for the holidays. Yeah. So, you know, hair flat, but again, I made it work. Just took down a little bit of length. If I had to go back and add to it, definitely can. The purpose was to be able to show you guys, but it still came out tight. Cool. So fade of the day, you guys can see how you're going to be able to rock those colors to make it look like it's actually shooting stars into the nail. Form application is going to be the key. So you're going to make sure that you're not going to get that space underneath the natural nail. Broke everything down as tight as I possibly could so that you guys can see the flow. The only thing I would have done, I think, even with this one, is add a little bit more through that upper arch area. But I was able to cheat it by shortening it, so reduce that, made it work. But if it was all long nails and it was that one, I would have to add and then wait. Problem is I'm not going to wait 4 more minutes, right, for it to dry. So you guys understand, and that's the most important thing. If you guys have questions, hit me up. I really appreciate you guys participating with me in the morning. Again, if you guys have any questions, DM me. I'm always here to help. Have a wonderful day. Thanks a lot. Peace.